Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Jessica Waldron. I'm a relationship and sex therapy psychologist. Today I'm going to talk a little bit in this video about communicating about sex with your partner. This topic comes up a lot. A lot of people aren't quite sure where to start if this hasn't been a regular part or topic of conversation in the relationship. So one of the things I want to talk about, I think, is super important when we dive into a topic like sex that can feel very vulnerable for people. People can experience things like embarrassment or shame or uncertainty about their own sexuality or their preferences and how their partner might respond to that. For creating emotional safety in the conversations that you're having with your partner about sex, this is really step number one. Everyone needs to feel comfortable and that this is really a safe, open, respectful space to dive in and be more curious with one another and get to know each other a little better in this area. Let's see. So yes, creating emotional safety. So first thing is schedule a time to talk about sex. This is not something that you want to just catch your partner off guard with. Or often I hear that people will sort of initiate this conversation when kind of push comes to shove or a negative experience happened or something. That typically ends up being when we're in a vulnerable emotional state, maybe during sex and something goes awry or we're arguing about something else and then we do the whole dumping. So plan a time, reach out to your partner, let them know this is something you want to talk about in a positive way, and ask them when's a good time. Second, practice active mindful listening when you're in this conversation. Most of this is tips for all conversations, but so often we are in our heads thinking about how we want to respond or what we want to say, or having all sorts of emotional reactions to what our partner is saying that we're like half listening. So when we're talking about active mindful listening, that's really, really bringing your full attention to what your partner is saying. You might have a reaction, try to notice that, and then come back to what your partner is saying. You might notice yourself trying to think of a response. Again, just notice that and then really bring your attention back to noticing and picking up what they're saying so that you fully can take in, learn, and grow from what they're saying and not just put it through the lens of the emotional reactions you're having or completely miss what they're saying because you were kind of too busy in your own head. On this note, so following active listening, make sure that you really are hearing your partner, really getting the point of what they're saying. One way to do this is to just repeat back to them what you're hearing. So when they share something like, okay, so you're saying X, Y, and Z, or you're saying, wow, you'd really like to try some new stuff in the bedroom. Now, what happens here is that if you did misunderstand it, or it did go through your own lens of emotional reactions, or your mind did wander, here's your chance for you to show your partner, hey, I'm listening, but I also want to make sure that I understand you correctly. I really care that I understand you and that I'm picking up what you're saying. So let me know if I missed something. And that gives them an opportunity to be like, no, that's not what I said at all, and can clarify more. Super, super important here, the second line about avoiding judgment, criticism, or invalidation. I mean, I think that's really the number one around creating emotional safety is if your partner is going to take the time to open up to you about something as vulnerable as sex can be, and then you say something like, no, I'm not, or no, you don't, or, ew, that's weird. Whew, they're going to shut right down. They're going to be the turtle, right, going right back into their turtle shell. And it can be really damaging and hard to repair from that. So please, please, please think before you speak. Take a moment. So this is about positioning. So do talk in a position, a posture that feels most conducive to this type of open sharing. For some people, looking at each other right in the eye is going to be a little too intense, right? It's going to be a little too distracting for them to stay in touch with what they're wanting to share or to process. So for some people, maybe a side by side. Hey, we're sitting on the couch. We're sitting on the beach looking out at the ocean. We're taking a walk, can be a really nice time to have some of these deeper conversations. Maybe for some, if it's really uncomfortable, it could be while we're doing a shared activity, right? We're doing a puzzle together, and it's it kind of removes that intensity of staring right at each other, but we're still really connecting, but we're kind of moving, and that helps converse and be more fluid in the conversation. Avoid pressuring or pushing your partner to share more than they're ready to. So this is a process. If this is a long-term partnership, allow it to unfold at a more organic rate. You want to be open, but you don't want to be like, tell me all your deepest desires and fantasies, and your partner's like, I don't know, like, I don't know what those are. It's like, no, come on, like, I want to hear everything. That's not going to work, right? That's going to be too overwhelming and shut them down. So if they say, I don't know, be like, cool. Well, when you do, like, I'm all ears. Or when you're ready to talk about it, I'm all ears. So just not pressuring this, right? We want to just make this an organic part of the relationship, and doing so means that it's an okay, non-pressure based space. Offer warmth, kindness, curiosity. I mean, these are lovely things to offer your partner, right? Where it just feels like this nice, easy conversation where you're genuinely interested, no judgment. Again, just reiterating, no judgment, no criticism, no invalidation, no, you don't like that, or you didn't like that when I tried that, or whatever. Leave that stuff at the door. Take responsibility for managing your emotional reactions. So again, this can be an emotionally laden space for people. Be ready, go into the space ready to manage, noticing what your own reactions are and being able to regulate. So we don't want to let our emotions get the best of us in these conversations if possible. So if you need a break, you take a break. Hey, I'm noticing I'm getting like really anxious about this conversation. I'm kind of getting upset. Can we like slow down here? Can we take a break? Can we come back to it? Totally fine. Share from your own experience. Use I statements. So often, I have a lot of couples where the person says, you never do this, or he doesn't want to do that, or she doesn't want to, or they don't do this. And so often we're talking about what our partner isn't doing or is doing, and we're not really talking about what our experience of it is or what we want. It's often easier to talk about the other person than to talk about ourselves, particularly in a space like sex. So try to talk, hey, I would like to do this, or when we do this, I feel this, or I feel like I would really enjoy if we could try this. Blaming, telling somebody else is going to really hit that criticism button and often make them shut down, get defensive, all of that. As I was saying before, take a break from the conversation if it becomes too overwhelming, tense, argumentative, distressing, anything where you see it shifting from this nice space of sharing and stuff. Take a break. Hey, you know what? This can be a tricky area. There can be some landmines that we can step on. No problem. If someone feels emotional, take a break. Come back to it. Say, you know what? I can see this is upsetting. Let's just slow down, right? You don't have to continue that it's escalated to an unproductive place that no one's going to want to go back to. I have a lot of couples that come to me who don't want to talk about this anymore because they've never gotten anywhere, and it usually just leaves them feeling more disconnected. And then choose 1 to 2 things to put into action from the conversation, or schedule a follow-up conversation. So you don't want to stop the conversation, right? The idea is we're trying to build a habit and more regularity about us communicating about this really important area of our relationship. And one way to show your partner or each other that you're committed to this or that this is important is to take what we've talked about and put it into action. So words are one thing. the actions really where we feel, oh, wow, this person really is taking this area of our relationship seriously and is really being intentional about putting time and energy. And I think that says a lot to people. And we really, really value that when we see it in our partner. And try to make a regular time. Hey, let's try this or whatever that came of it. And then let's do this again. Let's sit down. Let's spend even just 15 minutes